And it's Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Talking Business. We're at Iona University today at the Hynes Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and I got a chance to visit and listen to three student project teams with their semester projects, and showed great innovation. And I have a chance to talk with their instructor, and that is Lisa Tretler, who is an adjunct professor here at Iona, and also a consultant in business strategy. Lisa, good to see you. Great to see your classes and their presentations today.
And very nice to meet you, and thank you for giving your mentorship to our students.
I enjoyed it. Now, tell us a little bit about the Hynes Institute and the class that you've been teaching this semester.
Well, the Hynes Institute is just celebrating, I think its 5th year anniversary, and we are a standalone center at Iona University. It's actually a very multidisciplinary center in that we like to work with all different types of department areas, and the idea is to foster entrepreneurial collaboration throughout the school. Our mantra is we just want to get students excited about the idea of entrepreneurship, understand entrepreneurial thinking, get them working together, collaborating in a space that's very sort of user-friendly for developing new ideas. We do workshops and we offer classes so that students can take part in entrepreneurship in whatever way they think is of interest and helpful for them.
Very good. Well, we saw 3 presentations today. One was very applicable food truck. Another was a campus information system. A third was a retail clothing sizing mirror, and all 3 very interesting and important ideas. You came up with the concept of a prototype being able to help projects like these.
Yes, well, particularly with capital intensive projects or hardware and technology intensive projects. One thing that we found is that students, they're very good about coming up with wonderful ideas, but to actually implement them in practice is something a lot harder. So one thing that we really encourage them to do is to think about prototyping them, really kind of understanding what the customer experience is going to be like. And that can be something as simple as drawing out a sketch on paper so that you can see what it might look and feel like, and then getting some customer feedback or doing some market research on that. It may be, starting to build out something, and the reason for that is it becomes more real. Suddenly you start to think about what are really the costs associated with manufacturing that, what are the technology issues, what are the customer issues, and it's really an iterative process. And it also teaches the students that developing a new type of technology is not something that happens overnight. It has to be redone and rethought, and just with any type of business model, developing a prototype helps you to pivot to create even better ideas.
Very good. And tell us about some of the areas where entrepreneurship is so vital. It's vital in corporations to develop new products and augment existing products, but also startups. It seems that the internet and also mobile apps creates a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurship.
It's interesting that you should mention about in corporations how important entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial thinking is, and that's actually an area of great interest to me. And one thing that I've been seeing a lot of is now you see larger corporations which are buying up smaller startups, tech startups, and having to sort of integrate those small companies into their portfolios. And very often, traditionally, there have been different ways of thinking for some larger traditional companies versus some of these scrappy startups. One thing that I think is really important is actually teaching. To me, it's almost like they speak different languages. And I think it's very important to facilitate conversations between those different types of employees and the different mindsets that they bring to the table, because there are positive things about both. I think entrepreneurial thinking and learning to be innovative and think outside of the box is very important in larger corporations where employees may not feel as comfortable doing that. And I also think for entrepreneurs, it's really helpful for them to understand how to work within existing structures and hierarchies to kind of push ideas through. So there's a lot to learn on both sides and a lot to sort of take away from that. But the key is that entrepreneurial thinking is really applicable to anything in life, not just what happens in a corporation or in a business, but it's a way of approaching things and looking for new opportunities and really kind of empathizing with those that you are working with to be able to come up with better solutions.
Lisa Tretler, great to see you today. Tell us a little bit about your career and your consulting practice.
Well, I would say I'm a career consultant. I fell in love after I graduated from college and continued after I went back to business school in the consulting world. And in fact, after leaving sort of big business consulting, I started my own company called Business Boosters Consulting. It's about 20 years old. And I found that there was really a need from smaller businesses to get strategic planning support, which they might not normally have had access to. And in particular, one of my niches is actually helping women-owned businesses and some of the unique issues that they may find. So I started working in this area about 20 years ago, and what I found is I have a love for education as well. I adore teaching, and I've started working in developing workshops and sort of mentoring groups, and over time I've started to get more involved in education here at Iona University as an adjunct. I also do some work at Columbia University as an entrepreneur in residence. And I think that there's nothing more rewarding than to be able to teach others about entrepreneurship and how they can help themselves. So it's been very rewarding, and to me, having a multidisciplinary career is actually really important also, that you can use your skill sets towards whether it be helping students, helping businesses, even helping government organizations. My thought is that the more that I can kind of apply some of these strategic planning concepts to different groups, sort of the more helpful that can be, and the more it promotes economic development and growth.
And Lisa, one of the concepts you talked about today, the business model canvas for planning a new business, it could be a new product. Tell us a little bit about why you found this to be an important tool.
So this tool is actually kind of the cornerstone of the class that I teach, which is called Business Model Development. And the idea is that it's always better to develop a business idea on paper when you can make mistakes and you can erase and change things, than waiting until you've raised a lot of funds and you've put a lot of time into it. So in a way, it's almost like a consolidated business plan, a one-page business plan where you start by putting the customer at the center of all that you're doing, and you really think about what their needs are, what are the things that are frustrating to them, and then you target your product or service to addressing those needs, and that's really where you develop your value proposition. And from there, the canvas addresses all the other things you need to think about once you have your value proposition. Things like, how do you build your customer relationships? What are your sales and marketing channels? And then obviously thinking about where the big cost areas are. So what are the resources you'll need? What are the activities that need to happen in your company? So that you have an idea what the costs are going to be. And of course, when you think about your revenue streams and your cost areas and you put the two together, it gives you a pretty good indication if your business idea can actually be financially viable in the long term.
Lisa Tretler here at the Hynes Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Iona University, where you are an adjunct, and also great to hear about your consulting practice today.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. This is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services Talking Business. We're at Iona University in Rochelle, New York today. Thank you for watching.